Welcome back to Comic Yap. I'm Matt with Nerd Caliber. It's time for another installment of Convince Me in 20, where I read the first 20 chapters of a manhwa and decide whether to keep reading or not. Today, we're going over another one of my favorites, Ending Maker. Besides reincarnation and regression, there's another trope that's continuously used, and that's the I got sucked into my favorite video game genre. There are so many of them, and honestly, I'm a big fan. I started playing video games when I was 2, and the idea that you could live inside a game, it just speaks volumes to my escapism. Ending Maker is a great ambassador of this genre. It does a lot of the things right, and honestly, it's really a romance manhwa wrapped in a gaming story. For gaming world Isakai stories, the first chapter usually includes who the main character was before the transfer. A famous gamer, the best at the game, someone who never became famous but knows all the inner workings and secret mechanics better than anyone. Now this is to convince the audience that they have the qualities that differentiate them from other players. In Ending Maker, we're introduced to one of the 2 main characters immediately. That's right, there are 2 main characters in this story, making it slightly different from the rest. Our first main character is ranked first in the game. Now this panel is great because it adds another Korean word that we should familiarize ourselves with, hyungnim, or just hyung. A polite and respectful way to address an older male, loosely translated to older brother. This word and its parallel, nuna, for females, are used enough for you to at least recognize the general meaning when you run into them. Your rank is extremely important in Asian culture and in gaming culture. This panel specifically shows us these numerical values that our MC is number 1 by over 800 points to rank 2, and has been that way for almost 2 years. Why does this matter? Well, it's going to be a major theme of the story, and it's the reason why the MCs are the ones that the writer chose for our story. With any great story, there's a beginning. Now, our MC finds himself in a new world, finding themselves having difficulty breathing. I enjoy this story's version of being isekai because they're force logged off right in front of other players, transferred into a game, what doesn't seem like a major achievement. 23 months is such a strange number to choose to finally grab the players and bring them to your world. So I can't wait to figure out or to find out why they chose this. Now our MC sees themselves for the first time and realizes immediately who they are because of how many years they've spent as the character. We'll explore other stories where the MC is transported into the body of the worst character or one that's hated by everyone, but that's not this one. In this one, he's played this character for so long that it's almost like the game says, well, you might as well be them. Poof, now you are. Good luck. And now we get to meet our second main character. This panel is hilarious to me. They both recognize that they are the number 1 and 2 players almost immediately. And now they're living in the bodies of the characters they mained for so many years, always competing against each other. Now they're finding out, well, cooperation and understanding is their first priority. When gaming, in case you didn't know, it's typical for males to roleplay as female characters. So MC number 1 thinking our MC number 2 was a dude the whole time they were competing isn't strange at all. In fact, the fact that she's a woman who loves the game to the same level is surprising to him. And this revolution is a great ending to the first chapter and the start of their adventure. Every great story needs a problem to solve, and this one's no different. End of the world, destruction of the planet, whatever it is, the MCs are the only ones that can stop it. We learn here that MC1 has a weak body, which is a minor problem they need to solve to be able to fix the bigger problem, end of the world. Now this is a great thematic device used to progress the story. Rather than need to get strong to be strong, it's the need to not be sick so I don't die immediately. Please help. Now this dialogue is used to sneakily introduce other characters we'll definitely meet later. But this way, the production team can do it all in one line of dialogue while making a quick joke. It's effective, and we'll probably forget these names until we're actually introduced to these characters. This is just a powerful revelation. Ta-da! The biggest problem to solve is revealed. Influences from Japanese manga can be seen throughout this entire story, with this single panel references to numerous famous series. But besides referencing famous stories, the series also uses the chibi modification system, where characters are drawn in a less detailed but still recognizable style. These situations are usually when unimportant story events are occurring, or to make a joke funnier, or just seeing characters making unnatural faces. I'll tell you a secret about writing and comics. If a character tells you exactly what they're going to do and exactly how they're going to achieve that goal, then they will, without a doubt, fail. But if for some reason the writer obfuscates the plan or cuts away before we can hear the details, then the plan will always succeed. Now, mind you, this isn't 100% always the case, but you can go and read as many comics as you can and tell me your own findings. I could talk deeper about how strong writers will bait you and then switch course, but in the end, they usually all end up following this rule, even if it takes a few more chapters to get there. And this story is no different. In this panel, we see an ellipses at the chapter end. No way, you're going to do what? And then they do something unexpected and amazing, and we all win in the end. To experience the digital world you love firsthand undoubtedly gives a pure sense of belonging and joy, as perfectly expressed in this image. They're falling in love with the game all over again, and maybe they're coming to the realization that they love being in the game more than the world they come from. Did I mention this is actually a romance comic wrapped in a gaming isekai? I love the combination of these two panels. It's a perfect example of use of gutter, the dead space between panels, to show an enormous or even minor change. This time, it's being used to separate emotions from the coldly calculating to the spontaneous joy felt at the thought of leveling up. This really encapsulates who these two are and how they'll be interacting with their environment from now on. Bad people being bad all the time is boring. It just is. There are too many stories where the villain does nothing but cause villainy from the moment they wake to the moment they go to sleep. But that's not reality. Everyone has feelings and deeper thoughts. And to see a villain that is so frustrated with the situation to break and fume and lash out it's just good writing. When you have two MCs, it's important to get their relationship right, how their personalities interact. This panel shows that even though they've played the game for years, they know all the secrets, the cheats, they still get giddy after accomplishing something or for the first time. What's that song? Feels like the first time. Yeah, feels like the very first time. Come on. I've really focused this review on the MCs, but side characters are pivotal to any good story. I want to show this panel because other than some slight introductions, we only get to meet a few as we learn about our main characters more first. Now, this panel is just hilarious to me. It's based on all the things that have happened before. A lot of manhwas and mangas, they focus on games and gaming life as a strong part of their culture. And as such, riding the bus, pulling aggro, DPS, and other gaming esoteric languages come out. Normally, the comic will use context clues to help us, the readers, determine what these words mean, especially if we aren't in that specific circle. In Ending Maker, they created a situation where one MC has to do all the fighting and must carry the other MC, who's still too weak and frail to fight earnestly. This is what they call busing, riding the bus, bus town. Get on the bus, we have tickets to the bus show, it's happening at Level Upville tonight. Another term, stats. Numerical value in varying categories such as strength, dexterity, intelligence, they can convey a character's abilities. Having all your stats go up by 1 sounds great. You got stronger. But what's the cap? What's the reference to how strong that solitary point actually made you? 99 stats and you become the strongest on the continent? 999 and you can fly through the sun and call it refreshing? No idea. Each comic treats this value differently, but it's a system that they have to meticulously care about, because if the writer doesn't track these numbers properly, a power imbalance can happen later in the story. We're now on to chapter 11 and I'm still not convinced. I love the story, but everything that's happened up till now has just not drawn me into the story. It's all just been a big picture and MC introductions and setups. But here we have the start of the main arc, and it even has a name, the Demon Hand event. They may be new to these lives, but the relationships and the people around them are real. And with their gaming knowledge, they know how the world plays out. They know what happens to these people. This sentiment is so strong, the desire to protect those around you, to protect someone you know will die soon, and you can stop it. It's one of the best motivators in a storyline. And as a reader, I want to see them succeed. I want to know how they pull it off. How do they change fate, history, something that has been predetermined, something that has happened over and over again, no matter how many times they played the game. There's a lot that happens up to this point, but I just love this panel, so I wanted to show it off. Wow, I can't believe there were no traps. It's not like the whole mountain's gonna blow up. I'll protect you with my life. These are all examples of death flags. Saying something that should probably be better left unsaid, because the opposite's gonna happen once you speak it into existence. Now, manhwas constantly pay attention to death flags, as the MCs are always hyper aware of them. I genuinely enjoy the slow and charming way these two grow closer. Fan service. Not all of the comics we read will have it, but they specifically called it out in this one and then did it anyways. Action, well-written dialogue, clean story structure, continuous growth mixed in with humor and drama. I'm sold. But I already was. Ending Maker, with 67 chapters, is currently on a long hiatus after finishing season 2. And I really hope they come back, because the story maintains this level of freshness mixed with romance and fun in each and every chapter. I give Ending Maker 4.5 anime references out of 5. Maybe when you're done reading, you'll start using references in your everyday life. Thanks for reading with me. I hope you had as much fun as I did. Stay tuned for the next episode when we do Wild West Murum. Cheers. Feels like the first time. Yeah, feels like the very first time. Come on.